Hello everyone, welcome back to His Bride channel. This is Charmille coming back at you guys. So the next few episodes that we plan to show you are actually not of me talking. This next episode is actually about a friend of mine who I feel like as a single mother would have a great story to tell. Her name is Lakeitha Rousseau. She's a beautiful human being. She is a widow and has two beautiful boys. And I just would like for her to tell her story. We met working in healthcare and we worked really closely together for at least 5 years. And I just watched her journey firsthand and gained so much strength from her strength. So I just wanted to share her story with you guys. I'll see you next time. You guys, God bless. Stay safe. See you guys later. Bye.
So I met my husband when I was 18. We got married when I was 19. He's just a few years older than me. But we had 2 boys together. So basically my husband had some medical issues. He had hypertension for a very long time. The hypertension led to him needing dialysis. Dialysis led to him actually receiving a kidney transplant. Did very well with that kidney transplant for a very long time, but he didn't control the high blood pressure. So once again, we went down that road again with dialysis, and he actually received a transplant from his brother. Did well with that, but still wasn't managing the hypertension. So he ended up on dialysis again. He had a major stroke. He did okay with the stroke, but then he had some complications with his from the dialysis, and he ended up passing away in December of 2013, unexpectedly.
Gotcha. So I want you to tell me about, especially from a single mom perspective, how was that to have to, grieve your husband and also have to take care of your children?
For me, that was very hard. That was very hard because I had spent my whole adulthood with this man. This was my best friend. I even though I knew he had medical problems, I didn't see my life without my husband. That's all I knew. And so with the loss of my husband, that was a hard time for me. It took me a while. I actually started having anxiety attacks because I just didn't know what to do. And now, on top of losing my husband, I have to raise 2 boys on my own, one of which has special needs. And so I lost my husband at an age that boys typically need their father, because there's only so much as a mom that we can teach them. We can't really just technically teach them how to be a man. We are women. We can teach them certain things, but they need a male, their father or male figure, to actually teach them how to be a man. So that part was difficult for me because after my husband passed, I didn't really have a male figure to just come in and say, okay, let me help you, help your boys, kind of teach them what it takes to be a good man. So as their mom, I just did the very best I could, as far as raising my boys to where they are today. I allowed God to guide me. I mean, when all else fails, God is your source. He is your source. You can always go to him and he will direct you where you need to be. So as a single mom that really didn't have a male figure for my boys, I had to rely on God to guide me, to teach them the best I could.
I mean, the scripture that comes to me when you say that is, he will be a father to the fatherless.
Yes.
How did that really touch, in your situation? What did you feel when you hear that scripture?
I'll say for me, because my youngest son, after his father died, he felt like he really didn't have closure when his dad passed away, because he just didn't have a goodbye, and he didn't expect, as well as we didn't expect, his dad to die. And so my son went through a very, very, very bad phase of depression at 14, 15 years old, and that was hard. But like you said, God allowed certain people to come into my life, certain people to come into my children's life, and especially my son who developed depression, to come into his life to actually help him and guide him through the depression. And he was able to come through the depression. So in that sense, God, being a father, he brought people through to actually help my son where my husband wasn't able to be.
So tell me about your kids now. How are they doing?
My kids are awesome. My oldest is 23. He is home with me. That's my special needs child, but he is doing fine. And my youngest is 21 now. He lives in Texas. Lord help me, Jesus. But he is in Texas, and he just got married on April 26th. And he just had his first baby. It's a girl on April 30th. And she is beautiful. And when I tell y'all, my son, oh my gosh, when I tell you God, oh Lord, I don't even know what to say. My son is amazing. I mean, my children are amazing, but I harp on him only because of the depression issue. But when I tell you, he is the most amazing young man ever. He has a heart like no other. I mean, he wants to fix the world. But when I say the most loving person ever, he is. And when I tell you, Lord, the love that a son has for their mom is unbelievable. When I tell you the love that my son shows me is wow. And I think it's because the different things that he's seen me go through and to come through, it has shown him that it's possible. You know, and even though he didn't have his dad, he had a mom that had a will beyond imaginable. And that taught him, and that's teaching him that anything is possible.
That's right. Soon after your husband passed away, I want you to talk about how God orchestrated everything after your husband passed away, and then you getting diagnosed with breast cancer. Talk a little bit about that.
So when I tell you guys, God is just amazing. God is amazing. So my husband passed away December of 2013. So another little sidebar, I worked with Dr. Hare or Charmel for a little while. And so she's been with me for a little while. And so my transition from her office, I transitioned to a cancer treatment center, not knowing that God was setting some things in motion, but he was setting some things in motion. So I went to work for a cancer treatment center. About a year after being in the treatment center, working at the treatment center, I myself was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the crazy thing was, I applied at this job 2 times before I was actually given the job. And what I learned was the 2 positions that I applied for prior to the position that I have now, they were not the ones that God had for me. The one that he gave me actually allowed me to sit in on breast cancer journey with other patients. So I could see from the diagnosis to the treatment until the end of the journey. So when I was diagnosed myself in 2015, I already knew what I was facing. I already knew the journey. And when I tell y'all, my journey was like no other journey that I've seen. I mean, not to make anybody else's journey anything else. I'm just talking about my journey. When I was diagnosed, God walked with me the whole time, from the diagnosis to the treatment and to where I am right now. It has been, for me, effortless. I mean, effortless. I didn't have a time where I was in treatment where I was sick. I didn't have a time where I wasn't able to work, other than when I had to have surgeries. There was never a time when I had to worry about how my bills were going to be paid. None of that happened to me. So when I tell y'all, God literally walked me through this journey. And I feel that God walked me through this journey because he wanted me to see my true purpose in life. And that was to help other women going through this journey and to let them know that cancer is not your death sentence. It's not your death sentence. There is another side of the diagnosis. You just got to be willing to do your work, trust God, and know that it is possible. And so during my treatment, when I tell you I allowed myself to be a willing vessel to help other women, if it came down to me showing somebody my burns from radiation, hey, let me pull my shirt up. Let me show you what it looks like.
Yes.
If I got to show you what it looks like to walk around with a bald head, let me show you what that looks like.
Yes.
I mean, whatever it took, I allowed God to use me in whatever situation. If it meant I had to be in a room and pray with somebody, I'm praying with you. If it means I got to be in a room and I may be crying, okay, I'm crying. I mean, when it comes to saying, God, okay, I thank you for taking me through my journey the way you did. And now I'm going to do exactly what you did for me for somebody else. And so here I am, almost 5 years. I'll be 5 years in September, cancer free.
Yes.
5 years. And when I tell you guys, my journey, like I said, it has been unbelievable. And trust me, I have seen some situations when it comes to cancer treatment. So yeah, God has been amazing with my journey.
Well, a couple more questions for
Yes.
you. And guys, she is really living that out. Tell me how your kids dealt with your diagnosis, and what were your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking as far as survival of yourself and how your kids were going to do? They've already dealt with the first trauma of losing their father. Now their mom is sick.
Yeah.
It's something that most people expect to be a death sentence.
Yes. So for me, when I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer, my initial thought were my kids. It was my kids, because they had just lost their dad like a year and a half before. How do you tell some kids that, hey, your mom has cancer? And, you know, being their age, they may not have known exactly the consequences, but they've known that people can die from cancer. And so when I had to actually contemplate telling them, I was like, I'm not telling them this. And I actually told my oncologist, I'm not telling them this, because they've already lost their dad. They don't need to feel like they're going to lose their mom too. And he told me, he said, oh, you're going to tell your kids. You're going to tell your kids. He said, because it will be really sad and it will be hurtful to your kids for you guys to be out in a store and somebody walks up to you and say, hey, how's your treatment going? And I was like, you are right. You're right. So what I did in that situation was I sat down with my boys, you know, after meditating and allowing God to give me the words to tell my kids. And basically I told them, hey, your mom has cancer, but trust me, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I am here for you guys. You are not going to lose your mom. Trust me, you're not going to lose your mom. And so from that point on, we were good. And I think for me in the beginning, you know, when I was going through treatment and I lost my hair and all that stuff, I didn't want them to see me like that. So I would wear my wig. But I remember one day I was in my room and I was ironing and I took my wig off because they get hot. But I took my wig off and my son, my youngest son came in. He was like, Mama, he's like, why you wear that wig? He's like, you are beautiful without that wig on. And after that, I took it to a whole nother level. Honey, I wore my wig sometimes, other times I didn't, because I already had gotten what I needed. My kids were okay with how I was looking and how I was going through the journey. So that's all that mattered to me, was how my kids were dealing with it. And my youngest son calls me his shero, because he's like, my mom dealt with my dad's death and my mom has dealt with breast cancer, and she is one of the strongest people I know. So it's because of my kids as well as God that I'm able to sit here before you guys today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, last question for you.
Yes.
What advice would you give to single moms?
I would say to any single mom out there to just know that, yes, I know obstacles are going to come your way. Trust me, I know that I have faced so many obstacles, but I have this one particular scripture that I rely on in every situation that I face, and that is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I rely on that no matter what comes my way. And so you just keep telling yourself, I can do this. I can do this. And it's very important, I say, to have a circle of people in your life that you can trust. When I mean trust with everything, because there are people that may be in your life, but you can't always trust them with everything in your life, because even though some people say they may be praying for you, you got to make sure that this person is actually for you, because they may not be praying the right thing for you. So make sure your circle is a circle of people who really care for you, really have your best interests at heart. And when things are going a certain way and you are praying, but you're still not settled and you're really not mentally there, call on those friends and get those friends with you. Get those friends praying with you. I promise you, it will get you through a lot of situations. I have a wonderful circle of friends. I thank God for my circle friend. Charmel, of course, is my friend. She's my sister. She is never, ever unavailable when I need her. All I have to do is text and call her. She's available for me. So I say, rely on your word. Stay in your word. You know, write things down. Talk to your friends. But main thing, keep God first. Keep God first, and I promise you, everything's gonna be just fine.